Welcome back to Young Turks. We continue our startup trek in Gionee's headquarters in Shenzhen, China.
Well, in terms of achievements, this is what Gionee claims. It says that in 2014, the brand was ranked as the 10th largest mobile phone brand in the world by volume. It launched its brand in India in 2013, and today it enjoys the top 3 market share position in the GSM market in China.
This year was the first time that Apple overtook Chinese smartphone manufacturers to become the #1 brand in China. How does Gionee plan on biting into the top end of the Chinese market, where Apple now dominates?
We've been sort of walking through the streets of Shenzhen and Beijing. Everyone has an iPhone, or most people have an iPhone.
Yes.
How do you compete with that brand? Because you may be able to do 100 mini megapixels, you may claim to have the world's slimmest phone, but you know, you're not being able to convert people from the iPhone to Gionee, at least in China at this point in time.
Yeah, you know, before we called, there are 2 top brands. One is Apple, one is Samsung. Now Samsung, we put it down. Maybe next will be iPhone.
Next will be iPhone?
Take some time.
How much longer?
You can take another 2 or 3 years.
Another 2 or 3 years. But that's a huge gap, isn't there, between where the iPhone is, China's the largest market for the iPhone, and the rest of Chinese manufacturers. So what would you do to close that gap?
I think now the main gap is not in the hardware, not in the design. Maybe it's ecosystem. So iOS, the user experience is better than Android today. So still we need work hard to reduce the gap between the iOS, the Android-based mobile phones.
Okay. As an entrepreneur, and you know, you started this company in 2002, so it's been around for 13 years now. What continues to be the driving philosophy? And China isn't exactly known for nurturing private entrepreneurs. It's changing. It has changed significantly over the past decade and a half or so. But what have been some of the obstacles that you've had to face? And as a private entrepreneur, what has the journey been like for you?
So actually, Gionee have a very clear mission that we want to enable human beings to be connected freely. Because today, mobile phone is the connecting hub for everybody to contact with the world. So I think in the world, you know, today, less than 50% of the people are not using smartphones. And even like India, still today, the mobile phone penetration is very low. So like the market like Nigeria, only 10% belong to smartphone. But everybody needs smartphone. So Gionee have the mission, have the responsibility to make more people, they can use value for money products to connect it with the world.
And in terms of making smartphones more affordable, I mean, you know, the prices have dropped quite significantly thanks to the kind of competition that's come in from Chinese players like yourself. How much cheaper can they get?
So I think with the new technology, you know, development, I think we can give a lot more cheaper products but with better experience. So from my side, price and cost will be the second issue. Number 1 should be the experience. So I must ensure the good quality and good user experience. Then we come to the price.
But what does it mean now as far as margins are concerned, for instance, as you start to move prices lower, but people want more and more features, people want more enhanced technology. What does it eventually mean in terms of margins, or does this now, for players like yourself, become largely a volume game?
Yes. So for margin, it's very important for every company. So because margin will support the innovation in the future. So of course, with the the volume become big, I think we can make more money, but the average margin will become less.
What is the current margin that you enjoy? Would it be in the sort of mid-teens? Would it be in the high 20s? What kind of margins would you enjoy today? Broadly, ballpark.
Broadly, I think we can enjoy about 2-digit margins.
2-digit margins, okay. What is going to be driving your strategy over the next 5 years?
Number 1 target, I think that in the next 5 years, I think our total annual shipment will reach about 100 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is number 1. Second is we should be very deep in some strategic market like China, like India, like Nigeria. That means we not only a phone company or brand company, we should also have the ecosystem of the mobile internet.
Okay. Speaking of that strategy and speaking of going deeper into the Indian market, why have you chosen not to go the e-commerce retail route, which is something that most of your competitors are doing?
So e-commerce, I think for many companies, they are take it as shortcut because traditional distribution, takes a long time. But from my side, that today e-commerce is less than 10% in India, and also a lot of markets, the delivery and the payment is the bottleneck. So I think traditional market still has a lot, gap for us to fill in.
What inspires you, or who inspires you, and who would you regard as competition today?
My personal belief.
Is your personal belief?
Yes, not from the competition.
Time for a break, but when we return, a mobile personal assistant that brings information at your fingertips. The story of Haptic when we return.